What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Tuesday Night Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender, the man waving diligently at you right now, Craig Mish. We take a look at the lines every Tuesday night, looking ahead to week 7, but of course we have to take a look back at week 6 and say what happened. And Craig, 3-2 this past week. We were 3-0 after the early games. And then we got, Green Bay. I don't know what that was.
We got beat bad.
We got Packard, and then we got the Cowboys. We just got Dallas.
What in the world happened? We were 3-0 going into the late games.
So good. And then nothing. What happened?
Nothing. I mean, I felt so good. Like every pick we talked about was going well. Even the picks we didn't use looked good. I'm like, we are going 5-0. Packers are up 10-0. I'm like, wow, we're going to win that one too. And we did not. And then Dallas was probably the worst pick of the year. I think that was the worst pick of the year. Is there an argument for any other pick that we've had that's been more off? No, right?
No, not this year. I think that's fine. And I guess the rule is that we're never going back to Dallas. We're never taking him.
So we've had more success. We've taken them 3 times. We've lost all 3.
Yeah, we have had more success with the Falcons than we have with Dallas.
Absolutely.
Hence, therefore, and such.
We took the Falcons at times and have won. It's just they've lost a couple times for us. But Dallas is clearly the kryptonite. Yeah,
it's horrifying. It's
definitely so. But let's talk about the good picks that we had. We were right on the money taking the Colts against the Bengals against the Colts. It was a phenomenal choice. Bengals could have easily won the game outright. I thought they played great in that game. Mm-hmm. Colts are a fadeable team if they're laying points. I don't know how anybody could have confidence in them. Although they could have scored a late touchdown and covered the spread, they really didn't deserve it. I think the Bengals were the right pick in that spot, so I felt really good about that for sure. Detroit was a fantastic pick, maybe the best pick of the week. That game was not close. Jacksonville did go for it a couple times on 4th down, but of the 2 times they go for it, let's hypothetically say if you just play numbers, they get it 1 time out of the 2. And score a touchdown off at 1 time, it still doesn't put them close to covering. No. And Jacksonville's gone the other way. And I am a sucker for the Lions, as you know, but I'm not going to buy back in to say that they're going to win 10 games or anything like that. But I got to say, Howard, that was one of the more impressive start to finish performances of Sunday. Like they just went in, smashed Jacksonville offensively and defensively, and it wasn't close. So that one was a good one too.
And they were able to run the ball a little bit more there at the end, which is something we like.
Right. Yeah, with Swift.
Yeah.
So which honestly leads me to what were you doing the first 5 weeks? I mean, seriously, why didn't you play that guy? I mean, to me, he was we talked about this. He's my favorite running back coming out of the draft. I was shocked that they didn't use him as much, but okay. So that was the second win, and the third win, it's escaping me at this very moment.
Because I'll tell you what, Craig. 66.7% of the time, it works every time.
That was the easy one. It was. Listen, look, not all trends work all the time, and this one certainly. Look, if you think about it, the next time a coach gets fired, if we go with the team and they end up not covering, we still won 2 out of 3, which is 66%.
66.7%.
So the reality is, 2 coaches got fired this year. 2 times the team came out the next week. And 2 times they played their best football game of the season. Not close. Houston definitely played their best game of the season. They played well against Tennessee, but 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, that led to a win. And then is there any doubt that Atlanta played their best football game last week? I don't think. I mean, I know Minnesota's playing horrible, but I mean, Atlanta just smashed Minnesota in the mouth. I would say Atlanta. You know what I would say, Howard? I would say Atlanta's a better team than Minnesota.
I would say that they're a better team than Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think both defenses are trash.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go with the more high-powered offense, obviously, I mean, listen, getting Julio Jones back in the mix, that's huge.
Right.
Calvin Ridley, solid. They got Hayden Hurst involved again. Even Russell Gage was involved in that passing attack up and down the field. So it just felt good to have them locked in like that. And yeah, the way it started, I mean, 3 early interceptions for Kirk Cousins.
I mean, yeah. That's a fadeable character too in Cousins.
Made me happy.
So, by the way, your DFS guy scored too. Did you do well on that lineup? The Washington lineup? I remember you mentioned him last week.
Which one?
I
Oh,
think you
James
said
Washington?
yeah, he scored. I couldn't believe that.
He did. He was just fine. The problem was that Pittsburgh just didn't throw in that game. Big Ben was
They didn't
not.
have.
No, they didn't have to. So yeah, that DFS lineup did not take.
No. Okay.
And I
I
think I
didn't win
also had
anybody
a
this
little
week either.
had a little Marvin Jones in there too, and that just
right. Yeah.
that didn't feel
Galladay is
good.
the guy there. I mean, that's
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Is he? Thank you.
He's really good. I'm going to turn my air down a little bit.
That's killer analysis.
When Galladay plays, they seem to be better. They seem to play better. All right, so that's where we're at. Monday Night Football, both dogs did not cover, and by the way, didn't deserve it. Buffalo, I don't think deserved the cover, even though they were close, and clearly Dallas was one of our picks. When I thought it through a little bit, as far as doing it, I still when I go back and think about it again, I wouldn't have changed anything. I would have taken Dallas because I don't know that it really counts like a non-traditional Monday night home dog, like a game that got moved because of the pandemic with no fans. So even though the home dogs were 0-2, like I don't know if I feel bad or even good about that. I just think that home field advantage in the NFL this year is like supremely overrated. It doesn't feel like there's any significant advantage this year to playing at home, at least with no fans thus far, from what I've seen. So.
Yeah, even with the ones that are allowing 25% capacity, I mean, you can tell it's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
And a lot of unders hit this past week. I think the unders were 10-5.
Yeah.
So that's the first time we've seen that, and the dogs did bark pretty hard this week too. So that's going to be a trend. It can't keep up all season long with the favorites and the chalk covering. So that's where we're at there. So I guess let's take a look at some of the early lines for the week, and there has been a lot of shifting in some of these lines this week, more than usual. And I guess because there's 2 games Monday night and the 4 teams involved, and that probably has something to do with it. So I don't think I have a strong opinion here necessarily, but the Giants, to me, are, they won last week. They didn't cover, but they are a really good team against the spread. I don't trust Philadelphia at all, but the line was really juicy at -7. It's down to 4. Philadelphia's only 4 now. And I guess if I had to take a side here, Howard, because we won't talk until Saturday, I would take the Giants in this game. I would take the Giants, and they've shown the ability to keep the game close and cover. I'm not going to go against that.
Yeah, I hate this game. I really do.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, when you look at what the Giants have on offense, it's really, they've got some weapons, but that line is just so bad that Daniel Jones has no time to throw. They've got no time to get set for a run. And it's brutal. Now, the fact that they're going up, that they don't really have a pass rush, makes me less concerned about the Eagles and their offensive line issues that they've had as well throughout the season. I mean, if I had a lean, I would lean the Eagles.
Okay.
Only because I have much more faith in Carson Wentz chucking the ball around than Daniel Jones. And neither team really has any great ground game now that Miles Sanders is out as well. So. True. Let's just put that stink on the side, and thankfully abandon the Thursday game. Let's start with some of the early games on Sunday. Green Bay. How about Packers -3.5 over the Texans?
Yeah, look, Houston's defense is if not the worst in the NFL, one of the worst. The line is moved from -3 to 3.5. I think the Texans are kind of sunk at this point. So if I had a lean, it would be taking Green Bay. But I never really feel like I have a good lean on them. Like, I don't know, a read on them. For some reason, I don't feel like I'm ever right with Green Bay. I don't know. What do you see in this?
Well, Green Bay's been good to us this year, with the exception of this past game, which was just terrible.
That's true.
Green Bay
for some reason, I don't have a good sense with them. But look, they've won and covered every game up until now, so you didn't really have to have a sense. You just plug and play.
There you go. So going up against Texans and that lousy offensive line. Aaron Jones is going to be a very heavy Aaron Jones game. The thing about it is that you can't count out Deshaun Watson at the end of the game.
No, I know.
Like, one of the things that we saw with Dallas not being able to come back against Arizona was because you didn't have Dak Prescott and his ability to really rally the offense. Andy Dalton's just not that guy. So you look at here with the Texans, Deshaun Watson is that type of guy. So seeing what kind of a beating that the Packers defense took, I might lean a little bit towards the Texans in the home game, getting the 3.5 points just to keep it close. They don't have to win, but I could see
Okay.
Watson helping them get close, especially if that hook stays the 3.5.
Right. I think you'll get more. I think you'll get more out of that.
All right.
You could get-
We asked, we talked last stream what the Bills Jets line was going to
Right.
be. I think you said 17.5. I was going to say 16. And here we are.
Only
It's a 13-point spread.
Yeah, up from 10. Next week's look-ahead line for Kansas City is 20. So that's the line next week, Jets, Kansas City Chiefs. It's 20. And it would be the 5th biggest all time, I think. 2 of them were last year with Miami.
Yeah.
So look, we're not ever taking the Jets, so that's the end of that. But would we be willing to lay 13? Do we just keep firing at the Jets until they cover? And there's some people who feel like you should go the other way, where a team eventually is going to cover. No team goes 0-16 against the spread ever. So
I don't know. The Bills really, they need a big comeback game. They seem to be doing well against soft teams. This is that moment for them. I think the Jets, I think we need to lobby to get them called the New York Slump Busters as opposed to the New York Jets. So I'll lean Buffalo here. Only lean I just Buffalo. Hate the Jets.
Yeah, can only lean Buffalo. And by the way, this line will definitely be a lot higher by the kickoff. I mean, I don't even know. Will it be 15? That may be too high, but it's going to be 14.
All right. Panthers visiting the Saints. The Teddy Bridgewater revenge game narrative.
Yeah, tough one here. That's a tough one.
7.5. The Saints are given.
Yeah, I mean, my gut is always taking the dog with more than 7.5, and the Saints have not looked great. Like they. Who the Saints played? Didn't they play 2 weeks ago on Monday night? They were 7-point favorites against the Chargers. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they did not cover that game.
They did not cover that one. No.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hate to compare teams, but how much worse is Carolina than the Chargers? LA? Yeah. What's going to be the difference in this game?
I don't know. It was a field goal against the Chargers there. So listen, I don't have listen, I don't think I think the Saints defense isn't what it used to be. I'm tired of this nonsense with Taysom Hill coming in for Drew Brees.
Everybody.
Right? I mean, so right off the bat there, the fact that Peyton continuously goes to that play, to me, that takes away more points than the Saints than it does help them. Maybe it works, every so often, but if they put him in 4 times inside the red zone and he's scoring once, I mean, that's points off the board there for the Saints. So I could lean the dog here with Carolina.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a lean for me too. I like the way that they've played. And I know they didn't play particularly well last week, but at some point, and I know the Bears on paper are 5-1, and everyone's like, yeah, they're paper 5-1, and I get that. There's that possibility that they're going to walk into the first round of the playoffs this year, Howard, and get smashed. There is that possibility. Yeah. But you know what? They're 5-1. Like they're pretty good. They're okay. And they're probably a little bit better than Carolina, but is Carolina 7.5 points worse than the Saints? I don't think so.
I don't either. All right, next one, you got Steelers. They're a 2-point favorite on the road against the Titans. How are the Titans a 2-point home dog?
Crazy. Right?
To the Steelers after the Titans have now in back-to-back games throttled people. Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
Close games, though. Close games.
Yeah, but the offense
close game this past week. Close game.
Pumping points out there, and again, when the team goes into a prevent defense, like that's when you're worried about the backdoor cover. But I just don't understand how the Titans are a 2-point dog at home. I don't.
Well, look, last week they did not deserve to cover. Maybe win, but they did not deserve a cover. That's for sure. Romeo Crennel went for it.
Yep.
To put the team up a 9 and didn't get it. And then Tennessee scores a touchdown and scores a touchdown in overtime too. Like, it's a horrible loss if you have the other side there. So I'm not really giving Tennessee credit for that cover. I'll give them credit for the win. Very hard for me to go against Pittsburgh in any game. Very hard based on the way. I mean, is there a team playing better than them? I don't know. So for me, it is a pass. They
really haven't looked that great.
But they keep winning.
Yeah, that they do.
And this guy Claypool is a game changer, I think, for them. That's a weapon that I did not anticipate. Watched him play a ton at Notre Dame. it makes me more worried about Brian Kelly than it does Pittsburgh. Like, they did not use this guy the way Pittsburgh is using him. I am really impressed with that. In fact, you could have went through 10 wide receivers in the draft, and I would have had him 10th of the 10th guys. Like, I mean, I can't believe the Jets couldn't get a thing out of this kid that's not playing. And Claypool's better. Wow, like that's surprising to me. I mean, Claypool was great in the end zone. Like Notre Dame would just throw him passes in the end zone. He'd reach up with one hand and catch it.
He's 7'9", dude.
Yeah, but that's all they did with him. They never used him in the slot. like Pittsburgh is just a very well run team. They were very
he's a hybrid tight end wide receiver type player, and they're getting all of that.
Who's like the comp on him? Who's like the comparison to him? Like that kind of player you've seen in the past.
I don't even. Somebody that big, that tall.
I like doing Anquan Bolden.
But Bolden was definitely a much better receiver. I mean, he didn't have the size that Claypool has. Claypool's a giant. Like he's the size of Evan Ingram.
John, if he's only as good as Evan Ingram, then I got that completely wrong. I'm trying to think of he's not like Terrell Owens was faster, right? Like that's a bad comp, right? Yeah. Like I'm thinking of a big wide receiver, but that like I don't know. Herman Moore.
That dude was a disappointment.
Oh, he's great, Herman Moore. Are you kidding me? All right, let's move on. Okay, I'm a comp guy, if you hadn't noticed. All right, so 1 o'clock Eastern, we have the Lions and Falcons.
What? Browns Bengals. You missed Browns Bengals.
Okay, my bad.
Come on, Browns Bengals.
Browns Bengals. I feel like if the Browns didn't get blown out, they'd be much bigger favorites in this game. So the line is 3.5. There's going to be a lot of backing Cincinnati. I'll tell you my worry for the Bengals here is, Howard, you can't keep losing games without eventually it getting to you a little bit. That's a little bit of a worry for me, is that, yeah, it's great for us that they covered, but I mean, they're losing kind of, the losing is now starting to pile up here a little bit. And if you remember, the Bengals at some point last year just started losing every game and not covering too. So I know they have Burrow. I know they could keep the game close, but I think Cleveland's a better team than Indianapolis, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a pass right now for me on that.
All right. I mean, listen, I'm fine with it being a pass for you. I would, here's the thing is that I think that they can have success. You look and see what they did. They totally got away from their ground game that they were going to do in week 1 against the Ravens,
mm-hmm.
right? They were a disaster. What'd they do the following 2 weeks? They just, it was like they ran the ball 37 times and they ran the ball 35 times. And they dominated that way. Now they come off of a terrible game against Pittsburgh where, again, they weren't running like they did before. And I don't know, maybe it's because they feel like Kareem Hunt is a different type of back than Nick Chubb, and they can, get away with that. But I mean, against the Bengals here, I think that they go run heavy. I think this is the game where we end up seeing a decent mix of Dearness Johnson into the ground game.
I hope so, man.
And they hit hard with, Kareem Hunt first, and then let Dearness take care of it afterwards.
But how do you explain him not playing at all though? Last week.
Last week they totally, because they weren't on their game plan. You take a running back out of the game. Why didn't Alex Madison crush it against Atlanta? Oh, because Kirk Cousins threw 3 interceptions and they were playing from behind.
But didn't Madison get a goal line carry? He didn't make the most of it. No.
I mean, at that point, the dude hasn't seen any kind of volume. There's no rhythm that they're working in.
But at least
they're off their ground game.
Something going. Dearness Johnson didn't even play. He got a Cam Akers line, just DNP. All right, let's move on. Cowboys. Where do you want to go next?
You want to go Lions Falcons? Let's go Lions Falcons.
Yeah, Lions Falcons. Boy, this is the game that's going to make me a believer if the Lions win. I'm gonna believe they have a shot to hit that 8-win total if they win this one.
Okay, is that your lean? Taking 2.5 points against the Falcons?
I'm gonna lean Detroit. I think Detroit goes on a little run here. I'm going to be wrong for sure. But look, we have the ultimate game here of 2 teams that blow leads more than any team in the NFL. So someone's got to win, right? How about the total in this one? Am I seeing this right? 56.5?
I know, right?
This is NFL? This is like college lines here. 56.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, look at what the Falcons Vikings score was last week.
I know. And the Lions offense is okay. I'm going to take Detroit. I'm going to lean Detroit. I'm probably going to use them again. I'm going to go back in on them.
All right. All right. Dallas, Washington.
Oh, great. The line is trash. Dallas was -3. Look, it's -1. This is a rare week where, because of the Dallas public bettors, they're going to bet against their team, man. And Washington's going to get some love this week for sure. Washington will be a pick 'em or a favorite. After that, there's no doubt. That's an overreaction, though, probably. 47.5 is a total. I would go under. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. And again, Washington wins, it puts them in the mix for the playoffs, man. Like, they could win and go. They're 2-5. They're right there. As sickening as that sounds. So Rivera, I think, is playing to win and win 13-9 if he can. So I like an under here, but gosh, I am not taking Dallas. No way.
No, me neither. I'll lean on the under with you there.
Yeah, I like the under a little. Okay, now to the lates. Laters. Yeah.
Where do you want to go? Chiefs, Broncos?
Yes, let's take a look at that one. Chiefs, Broncos opened up. Chiefs -4.5. Now Chiefs -9. Denver at home again, pretty good. We talked about that last week. I didn't like them at all. You did like Denver a little bit against New England. So that would have been a good pick this week. Would you be willing to stick your neck out with Denver at home against the Chiefs?
No, probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not. I would have to stay with Kansas City. Now, I mean, listen, Kansas City hasn't been exactly lighting up the scoreboard on a regular basis.
Very true.
I mean, we look at Denver. Their defense isn't what it used to be. They don't have the offensive firepower right now. Drew Lock. Granted, this past week he was first game back from the shoulder injury. He was without Noah Fant, who was like a primary lean for him. But I just know Melvin Gordon. That situation is up in the air. As it stands right now, I'll look to the Chiefs here for Le'Veon Bell's first game as being a win.
All right. We got New England at home against San Francisco. Why did this line flip so much? It opened up with San Francisco even. Now New England is -2.5 in this one. I was pretty impressed with the way that the 49ers played. I thought they had a good bounce back there.
I thought so too. And is Raheem Mostert being out? Is that really going to be that much of a flip there?
Maybe it's just the idea that under Belichick they generally come back real strong after a bad loss. Maybe that's what it is here. And look, the part of it that makes you go against New England is the fact that Denver kicked 6 field goals. They're lucky they have this coach that just refuses to try to do anything good. Denver. So, I mean, if that guy was like any other coach, Denver probably would have scored 40 on New England. But he's like, yeah, we'll take those field goals. Keep kicking field goals.
Take the points.
That's a horrible coach, man. So, so one part of me says San Francisco played a lot better. The other part of me says you don't go against Belichick 2 games in a row like that. Usually he gets it fixed. So I guess Saturday we'll dive more into that one.
Yeah, I mean they only had we did hear all the Patriots excuses. Was there 2 practices in 2 weeks basically?
Yeah, but Tennessee had none, so how'd that work out? All right, Seattle at Arizona.
None that they were allowed.
Seattle at Arizona. Seattle opened at 3. They're -3.5. Boy, I hate looking at all favorites. I feel like I'm leaning that way a lot this week. So I'm wrong. I'm off about something. So. Look, I am not going against Russell Wilson. I'm not doing that anymore. And it seems like the teams off the bye are doing well. Yeah. So it's either Seattle or nothing for me. I think, in fact, that this may be one that I like a lot because I don't believe in the Cardinals at all. Their wins are paper against Dallas and the Jets. Seattle, I think, should be higher. I think I'm going to take Seattle this week.
What about this 56.5 over/under on this one, too?
Well, at least they have one really good team of the two here. But I mean, do you believe anything you saw with Arizona the last 2 weeks?
No, I don't. I don't. So
I don't. All right, we got the Jaguars and Chargers. This line has crashed a little too. The Chargers opened up at 9.5, and Jacksonville is still getting 7.5. I don't think Jacksonville has quit. I'll tell you what bothers me. I like Jacksonville in this. But what bothers me a little bit is hearing the coach saying they may bench Minshew, and that would be a total disaster if they do that. That guy plays really hard, win or lose. And if they put Glennon in this game, the Chargers are going to blow them out. So it's a pass for me. I was really surprised to even see that. I saw that. Was it today or yesterday? I saw that as a possibility. So if I'm going to do anything, I'm taking Jacksonville first half plus 3.5 or plus 4 and just leave it at that.
If they say that they, excuse me, if they announce that they're going to bench Minshew and that Glennon's going to get the start, would you be more inclined to taking the Chargers as a home favorite, laying 7.5?
But I don't think they're going to bench him. I think it would be an in-game benching. I think
okay.
It's like the same thing with Carson Wentz. Like, I don't think Carson Wentz is getting benched, but I can tell you that if the Giants are up 17-0 on Philadelphia on Thursday night, I think Jalen Hurts is coming in.
Okay, that's a possibility.
I think. I don't know how many times this can keep happening with Philadelphia. And by the way, Philadelphia is looking at all these other quarterbacks. The young guys in the NFL are all doing well. They're probably saying, like, yeah, let's just give it a shot. So it's blasphemy to say benching Wentz, but at this point, I mean, what do you really have to lose? You're 1-4-1 or something like that. So I get it. I'm a Wentz fan. I think he's still good, but you got to switch it up a little. All right, Sunday Night Football. They're going to play this one in Vegas. Bucks minus 2.5 against the Raiders. Wow, the Raiders are back to their old ways here where you cannot figure that team out at all, right? Like the Raiders, you would never think to take the Raiders here. And then they beat the Chiefs. And so you're like, ooh, well, maybe, maybe the Raiders are good again, right?
Well, they beat the Chiefs. They're on a bye week. They're all well rested.
I mean, maybe, right? And then Tampa Bay, truthfully, they got the pick six. They picked off Rodgers a couple times. Offensively, I am not impressed with the Bucs. The run games look good, but they look better offensively with Winston. I know it's horrible to say, but I think they did. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm crazy, but
I think they look better offensively as well. Though, I mean, again, Ronald Jones did look good.
He's looked good,
that is the Achilles heel of this Raiders defense. They can't stop the run. So, I mean, right now, I mean, again, I don't like. I'm with you. When you look at the Raiders, I mean, really, where are we?
Very hard team to read.
Is it going to, because that's the thing. Also, you got the Bucs who have a solid run defense. So, I mean, does that take Josh Jacobs out of the game?
That didn't matter against Kansas City because Carr just decided, okay, we're just going to throw deep for the first time ever. Like, what was that? Like, where was that game plan the last 2 years? So it's a good game plan for that. All right, let's close it out with, we have Monday night too. Yeah, Monday night. Yep. Bears, Rams.
Hey, they're 5-1. Come all in.
Rams are laying 6.5. Now it's down to 5.5. Excuse me. I would lean Bears. In this game.
Take the points.
Yeah, I would lean Bears. I'm not convinced on the Rams. I am not convinced. I'm not convinced on the Bears either. But if I close my eyes and think about this, I see 21-17, 2 minutes left. Somebody has the ball, chance to cover, and I want the points in that spot. So, yeah, I mean, the Bears are 5-1. And the Rams, this is not like Bears at 4-2 team that's going to blow you out, I don't think. So,
no.
So my lean is toward the points there. So I've got to lean on the Bears for sure. I've got to lean on Seattle for sure, and then I got to lean on Detroit, and then I'll check back Saturday night. How about you?
I've got a lean right now. How do I not take Buffalo against the Jets? I know it's a lot of points.
I won't argue with it. I know it's a lot of
points, but I mean,
I won't argue with it.
I'll lean Buffalo there. I will lean Browns on the comeback here, and I like your Lions call. I like your Lions lean as well. Getting 2.5 against the Falcons. I mean, again, I think that game, based on their defenses, could be a little bit of a coin flip, and
that's one tomorrow that I'm gonna wake up. I always check the Super Contest lines. I think they actually come out at 4:00 Eastern. I'm gonna wake up and see if that line in the morning is 3, and hope that we get a 3 because it's pushing toward 3. So if we could get the Lions and get that full 3, I really think that could be a factor. So love getting that field goal there.
Well, there you go. Those are our leans. Again, what you can do is you can tune into Sports Grid on Friday. Craig, Mish, and I will be on there discussing more of our leans and the line movement as we've seen it there. And then, of course, here on Saturday, the Wager Alarm live stream, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Craig and I will have our picks. We are back at 500 in the Westgate Super Contest. We get over that hump this week.
Hey, we hit 55% at the end of the year. We're making money. So
look it, baby.
We're fine. We're right where we are, right where we want. Listen, we'd love to be above 500. I'm not going to be silly here, but the difference between $1 million and a few $100,000 and winning $10,000 is all we are is 1-4-1 or 5-0 week, and we are right there. We've just hung around. We're hanging around. Don't let those guys from Wager Alarm hang around. They'll beat you. We are.
On that note, big thanks to John and Pemba for producing. As always, for Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Wager Alarm. We'll catch you next time.